If I told you that with AI and automation, I was able to reduce your workload by 80%, would you be interested? What if I gave you some actual figures around that? What if I told you that I'd taken a workflow that I do 3 times a week, each time taking me 10 hours, and reduced it down to about 3 hours work? And that 3 hours is kind of not really that realistic because it can do that in the background while I do it myself. I don't think there's a business owner on the planet who wouldn't find that interesting. And if you scale that across thousands of different workflows in a business, it's mind-blowing what's achievable. That's what I've been doing in this episode, is showing you how to take your YouTube channel management and put it all into Notion in one place, and using automation completely and utterly eliminate anything that even reeks of the tiniest little bit of wasted time. So the only thing that you have to do is to record a video, edit it, and post it. You can add in some other stuff like doing your YouTube SEO optimization and social search optimization, and you could probably do some other stuff, but you could completely make it easier. But it doesn't just stop there. It goes even further. You can actually get to the point where you're creating an entire AI chatbot that looks and sounds just like you. And that's what we've been doing in this series. In this particular episode, we're going to be going further into how to get all of that information that you're doing onto YouTube with a series of little microservices. And I think you're going to love it as we update the thumbnail in literally the click of a button. Let's see how it works. As with all of our workflows so far, our first stop is going to be updating this main table that we've been using in Notion. I want to add a couple of things. First thing we want to do is add an extra status in there, and that is going to be for when the thumbnail has been completed. So we'll add it in now. It's going to be YT thumbnail dated. Whoops. Dated. Now I'm just going to move it back to the previous one here, because that's where we finished the last episode. You can find the links to all these episodes in the description. Got our title, we've got our description. Now we want to put in a link, which is going to be a URL for our YouTube thumbnail. Okay. For my particular use case, I actually do this all off Google Drive. And the reason for that's pretty simple. I've already got the credentials set up for Google Drive, and that makes it really easy to do. Obviously, if you want to do it somewhere else, you absolutely can. The same process applies. You just have to change how you authenticate to it. Now I'm just going to quickly grab a thumbnail from here. Grab this link, copy link. Oops. Go back to Notion and add it in there. Okay, now we have a thumbnail. I'll show you what that thumbnail looks like. That's it there. It's one of my podcast episodes. If you follow my podcast, you would have seen that's already been released. Awesome. Okay, so back into here. The first thing we want to do is to create our Notion thing. All the authentication, that sort of stuff is all covered in a previous episode. Absolutely check that out if you haven't done it already. But we're going to get straight into this. Find this. It's going to be our YT, and we can find that video tracker database. It's already suggested for us, which is great. I'm going to fetch a test event. And this should be the one that we just played around with and updated it. Let's have a look. Make sure that our thumbnail is there. Great. Status, YT, title, description updated. Awesome. First thing we want to do is a couple of if statements to make sure that everything that we are going to need is in there. So the first thing we want to do is check our status. And we want that to be here. This is really important because we don't want this processing and updating thumbnails to things that aren't ready for it. Okay. In the previous episode, what we did is we updated our title and description. So now we're doing the thumbnail. And you can do this in a different order if you want to. That just works for me. So we'll just say check status. We also want to make sure that we have a YouTube URL. Which is here. I want to make sure that that is not empty. Great. Should evaluate to true. Just change that title Check for YouTube URL. Great. And we also want to make sure that we have an actual thumbnail update. Here. And that should be not empty. Great. So far, so good. Just update that title. Make sure, check. Great. Now, one of the interesting things about how N8N works with YouTube is you can't actually directly update a thumbnail. So what you actually have to do is download it first and then upload it. Luckily, thumbnails are typically pretty small, and so you don't need to worry about memory limits like we did when we were doing the actual video download. So to do that, we're going to get a Google Drive node, and we want to download a file. Now we're going to do that by URL. And if we go along to this YouTube thumbnail, we just drop that in there. Okay. And if we execute that step, awesome. Okay, you can see here that the title of this is data, and that's a default thing for N8N. It's good to remember that, and you'll see why in 2 seconds. Now what we want to do is get an HTTP request. And this is how we're actually going to upload it. So this has to be a post. And our URL is pretty complicated. So I'm just going to copy and paste this here. And this will be absolutely available for you. If you go to the description and you have a look at the associated link to the blog post, you'll see it there. Basically what this does is it needs to format the URL to go to the YouTube API. You can't just use the N8N node for this. What makes it really complicated, so we've got this particular part, which is standard, and then we have this thing which you might recognize from the previous episode. This allows you to extract the ID of the video that we want to apply the thumbnails to. So we've downloaded it in the previous step. Now we want to do that. Here we need to update our authentication, and we want this to be a predefined credential type. The credential type is going to be YouTube OAuth2. And we want to send this body, and this is going to be a special type of thing, which is an N8N binary file. And see that data? This input here is going to be data as well. Okay, so let's see how this is going to work. I'm going to go to my YouTube channel, which I just opened. Oh, that's a terrible photo. And in the previous episode, I showed you how we can automatically update this title and description, which is pretty awesome. Now we want to add an actual proper thumbnail because that just looks horrible. That's from an old episode, man. I feel embarrassed even looking at it. Sorry, everyone. Okay, if we execute this step now, let's go back and have a look at this. We'll need to refresh the page. Look at that. How easy was that? I mean, literally from here on in, whenever you want to update a thumbnail, you just drop it in your Google Drive. If you've got an editor who does that for you or some other person, you just put in that Google Drive, drop the link here, and it's done. I mean, that is exceptional. And look how, it took us like, how long have we been recording for? Like 5 minutes? Crazy. All right, the last thing we want to do is update our Notion status so that we can go to the next one. So if we go to update the page, okay, we want this by ID. Go all the way back to this Notion trigger. Here's our ID. Great. Get our property, which is going to be our status. And we're updating our status to the one that we just put in there, which is YT thumbnail updated. And just to show you this working, okay, so our current status is YT description updated. And now, and we want to that, and if we push execute, great. Let's go check that it worked. Thumbnail is updated. What an absolutely extraordinarily simple thing to update that saves you 2 or 3 minutes every time you do it. I mean, when you think about it, those 2 to 3 minutes may not sound like a lot, but if you're doing that 3 or 4 times a week, man, that time saving quickly adds up. When you combine this with all the other automations we've built so far in this series, I hope that you're starting to see how powerful this can actually be. and maybe think about some of the other cool ways you could be doing this in your business. Now, you're probably wondering, why am I doing this? Well, the thing is, I made a decision a few months ago that I wanted to see if it was possible to build $1 billion solopreneur business using AI and automation. To do that, I very quickly realized that my pathway meant I had to eliminate every second of wasted time from my life. And because I do so much YouTube content, that was an easy place for me to start. The goal is to build an entire manageable business straight from AI and automation, and we'll see how we go. If you feel like that's something you want to follow, well, chuck a follow and I'll absolutely love to see you in the channel. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next episode where we'll continue automating our YouTube channel. Let's go from there.